my mom asks me, hey, I've been looking at this church online. Would you be willing to go with me one Sunday? And she told me that she was like really scared to ask me that because, she knew me as an atheist.
Wow.
But at this point, I had started to kind of consider the idea of a higher being, because the 12-step program really highlights the idea that the 12-step programs often are really rooted as Christian groups, but they at least say you need to believe in something bigger than yourself. And so I started to actually consider the idea of a higher being, which was a really big step for me, because at first, my whole life, I just didn't believe in that. And so we go to CBC for the first time. Done a podcast,
bro. This is gonna be so fun. No,
Yeah.
I don't want this. That'll work.
All right, finally.
Yes, sir.
Took us long enough.
What's going on, Cooper?
Nothing much. Just happy to be on this podcast after like a year of trying to
Bro,
do it, bro.
Seriously, you were supposed to be on the Students episode, like
A year ago.
Yep.
Like right after I graduated was the plan.
And then you had already had a year of school at Baylor University.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the cool thing is we had kind of talked about this. I thought about driving up there with all the stuff,
All
and
the
we could have
gear,
done
yeah.
it in your dorm room, like in the living area.
Hey, we could always do another episode.
We could.
What we could do would be really fun is we could get a few of my like Baylor friends.
Yeah.
We could do like a group like Baylor episode.
That would be actually what's it like being a Christian. Well, Baylor is somewhat of a Christian university.
It is. I mean, it's actually the largest. I believe it's the largest Baptist university in the nation.
So then it is a Christian
It
university.
is definitely a Christian university. It's definitely, because it's also a really good university, pulls a lot of people who aren't Christian.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
It's
campus.
awesome. So I mean, it's definitely Christian. While I mean, it's honestly one of my favorite aspects about Baylor is that it's like it's Christian, but it's not like force you to be Christian.
Gotcha.
It's not like
It's not like a ministry school.
Yeah, it's not like Liberty. Like, all love to Liberty, but Liberty's like, it's so Christian. It's like, it's hard to not be a Christian, I think, at Liberty. And also, it's like, you keep yourself in a Christian bubble. But Baylor, it's like, Baylor is so diverse that you can very comfortably still walk out your faith without it being like, you have to walk out your faith. It's like, Baylor sets the table, but you got to pull up the chair when it comes to your faith, which I think is really healthy for Christians as they step into adulthood, because it's like, I feel like your bubble gets popped either slowly or fast. And if it gets popped fast as a Christian, then it can be really easy to fall out of faith. I think that's why so many young adults like walk away from the faith when they go to college or shortly thereafter, because it's like they go all through their life, all through their childhood in a Christian bubble, going to church, all this stuff, going to their high school ministry, and then they go either to a like completely secular university, and then they just start partying, drinking, and they just completely walk away from it, or they go to a Christian university and then their bubble is popped when they actually reach the real world after that, right? Like I have a mentor who's had kids go through Liberty, and he's even talked about that, and it's like, I love Liberty. I think Liberty is a wonderful university and they do a lot of great things, but personally I think it's like, I feel like Baylor's actually preparing me for the diversity of the real world. But also it's like we have what is it? FM 72, which is like this huge 72-hour prayer event at Baylor, and it's like one of our biggest events of the year, and so many students go to it. Like there's such a tremendous Christian population on campus that's like it's still a really good community.
That's good.
So definitely one of my favorite parts about Baylor.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I love that you said that, because I'm not a parent, but I definitely know. I just noticed all your Liberty, your BU stuff on your cup.
Oh yeah,
He's proud.
I have so many Baylor. I have more Baylor stickers than any other sticker on my water bottle.
Dude, what bata? Cool. Yeah, no, Baylor's a great university.
I do have the Life Stories podcast.
Yeah, you do.
sticker on
He's
there.
already repping the Life
yeah.
Stories podcast. Got to, if you're a CBC student, especially one of my dudes.
I feel like if you're a CBC student, the two big things you got to rep is Life Stories and Holy Faith.
Absolutely.
That's the big two.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to have Holy Faith and Life Stories do a collab.
You really need to get Dion and
Yeah, that'd
his
be cool.
wife on here. That would be really neat.
Yeah. Oh, they've got a great testimony too.
Oh, they really do. That'd be so good.
But cool. Hey, so
Yep.
this is Cooper. This is one of my
Okay.
students from CBC Students, but he's a full blown adult now. And,
I can't believe we can say that. It's crazy.
Go into like as you know now, Liberty University for.
No, I'm going.
I mean,
to
not
Baylor.
Liberty.
I'm
Baylor.
going to Baylor.
Uh,
Love Liberty. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
we've got how many students or alumni do we have at Baylor? I know we have
Ava Grace,
Ava, and then Jackson,
Jack Wilcox.
or Jack Wilcox. You,
I think that's it.
yeah. I thought it was cool because when I went to visit you in Waco, and Jack, I took a
You just
picture.
pulled up.
Yeah, I took a picture of the university. He's like, "Are you here?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see Jack out in the wild, being an adult.
I see him all the time. on campus. It's fun.
It's so cool. I'm so glad that y'all are there together, and
Yeah.
you represent Jesus in the way that you do. But yeah, so Cooper is one of my students. So we met, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Almost. Not. It's about 2.5 right now.
Yeah,
Because it's almost been 3 years since I got saved, and then we met
one weekend.
one weekend, which was about 5 or 6 months
Yeah.
after.
And that's where I met Aiden, because Aiden
Yep.
DeSeth was my previous guest, and
Yep.
Cooper are BFFs.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually kind of interesting that Aiden beat Cooper to the podcast.
It's really funny that he did, since he's not even a CBC student.
No, he's not. He's definitely Church Unlimited, but we love
yeah.
Church Unlimited.
Oh, church. That's great.
But yeah, introduce yourself. I would say tell us about yourself, but we kind of
Yeah.
went through
well,
that
I mean,
already.
Yeah. I'm 19 years old. I'm going into my sophomore year at Baylor University. I'm studying religion. So I have a major in religion, and we'll have a minor in communications. Well, technically, I'm an honor student, so that's a whole different, I have a different major, but I'm a religion major. That's a simple answer. I've been walking with Jesus about 2.5 years now. In September, it'll be 3. I've known David now for about 2.5 years, since one weekend. I am currently interning at CBC with the student team under Pastor Slayton and Caleb, which has been so much fun. It's almost coming to an end. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, in fact, will be our final day, which I can't believe. It's gone by so fast. But also when I look back at the last summer, it's so much has happened. So much has happened. So
It feels like it went by so fast. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm originally was born in Portland, Oregon, unfortunately. I'm kidding. I love Oregon, but Portland is a piece of work. I pretty much grew up as a kid in Kansas City, lived there for about 10 years, and then just as high school started, I moved to San Antonio, Texas, and so now Texas is very much my home. So I've been here almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in August.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
You're
I
definitely
love
more
Texas.
Texan than I am.
Yeah.
He wears cowboy hats and boots and
You
stuff.
can thank
and-
Leo and Aiden and Barrett for that. They're the ones who helped me get into all that.
Yep.
But I love it now. Yeah, it's my favorite.
The Cooper group.
Yeah.
Aiden, Leo, and Barrett. Where is Barrett? I haven't seen Barrett.
Who
Oh,
knows?
Barrett.
Bro, who knows? Barrett, I love Barrett, but
Me too.
I hung out with him at the very beginning of the summer, and I knew he was traveling recently, so I need to get back in touch with him. So,
Yeah, I need to call him. We need to do dinner or something.
Yeah.
But cool. Man, Cooper, I'm so glad to have you on. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so excited to be on this podcast. This is
I
so
know
much
you've
fun.
been telling me I swear the day we saw each other as the summer started and we saw each other and he's like podcast.
Yeah.
The summer's already almost over. It's just been so busy. I've been busy. You've been busy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the internship is absolutely nonstop.
Yeah.
I think that CBC is always moving. There's no breaks with CBC, and I think
Never.
that especially if you're on staff,
Never a dull
especially in one of the student ministries, whether it be kids, high school, middle school, or even
CG.
even CG, yeah,
Now
like it's just
especially, 'cause CG is changing.
nonstop. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it was hard, and so I was like, okay, we gotta make this happen. And before you go back to school, but I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the young men that you have become and are still becoming. And even when we were working together in students when you were a student,
Yeah.
one thing I'll say about Cooper is that anytime that I found a new student that didn't have any friends, Cooper was one of the ones that I could be like, Cooper, I need your help. And he would go and talk to him, make him feel welcome. And I definitely missed that
Yeah.
It's hard now
You've
because
got a Don now.
yeah. Well, Don is
now he's
graduated,
graduating.
so all of my OGs
All the OGs.
gone. I have nobody, so I've got some new students and that I've had to get to know, and they're awesome. Like Isaiah Gonzalez.
Yeah.
He's funny. Just yesterday,
He's a stud.
Yeah, he is.
He's great.
He's the popular kid right now.
He reminds me a lot of myself, and like the fact that he has a nonprofit and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that like level of drive.
Yeah,
high schooler is really rare, and seeing that in him, it's like I barely know him. Like I didn't meet him until this summer, but like as soon as I met him, like this kid's going places.
Oh yeah,
he's smart. He's driven. He's
he's one of the ones. Like even just yesterday, we had our midweek out in the Emmett Park, and there was a kid there, and I had spoken to him, and then for a little while, and then he wanted to come because he's new to San Antonio too, so he doesn't know anybody, and so of course when I see a kid by themselves, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta go talk to this kid because I hate people being by themselves, and so. I went to go talk to him, and so he wanted to go socialize, and I kind of got distracted by other people and kids that I had gotten to know, and the night went on, and then towards the end, I saw him sitting down in those red chairs by
those red chairs are the best.
Yeah,
I love those.
It was like the ones by the volleyball pit or whatever you call it, and he was sitting by himself, and he was eating something, and so I walk up to him, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just sitting here, and I was like, did you get to meet people? You know, just kind of like get a feel for where he was at. He's like, yeah, I talked to some people, because I was noticing him talking to people, but it was very quick. Like he would shake their hand, and he would introduce himself, and then of course they're either playing basketball or they're with their group or whatever. And so Isaiah was kind of in the vicinity, and so he was with another new kid named Jared, and I was like, Isaiah. And so of course Isaiah came, and he's caught on. He's picked up on when I call him, when I'm with someone, he knows, okay, he wants me to talk to this kid.
Yeah, I would do the same. It's like if I see someone I haven't seen at midweek before next to you, I'll be like, okay, all right, here's who I'm sitting with this week.
And so he sat down with them, and then we got Jared involved, and so they were talking, and I actually had a picture of them three together, and I'm just so grateful for the young people that God has put in my life as a leader. Because I mean, as cool as I think I am, I'm still a lot older than y'all. And
you and Wade though are like, you guys fit right in though. That's the best part. Like, yes, you guys are a lot older than us. You guys are like high schoolers at heart.
Oh, well,
and I feel like high school, like midweek overall would not be the same without you two, because you guys are just like, because it's nice to have like older men who we can like trust and like look up to, but also not be like, oh, they're so separate. They're so separated from us. Mm-hmm. It's so nice to have dudes who can just kind of like play around and have fun.
Yeah.
Like us high schoolers.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. And I love doing it. And so it's nice that now I have my new group.
Yep.
And Cameron too. There's actually two Camerons now. Now before
there
was
duplicates.
Yes, there was like 2 or 3 Jadens when Jaden, Linda, and Clan was in that group.
There's always the Ins. There's Jaden, Ian, Landon.
Definitely Aiden. There was like 500 Aidens,
gosh.
And there's been new Aidens to replace the Aidens that have moved out.
There's a lot of Coopers in what's the new generation? Gen Alpha? Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
Whoever's at VBS. I've seen like several Coopers.
Really?
But the weird thing is they spell it with a K instead of a C.
Well, yeah, the two Camerons I have, one is spelled with a C, one's spelled with a K. They're both equally as awesome. I love both of them. I actually was introduced to Cameron with the K. I'm sorry, not Cameron, Carson. Carson Mullins, and I can't remember the other one's last name. But I was actually introduced to Carson. Sorry, I'm stopping to my dog. She's walking around, and I wanted to sit down. So, but I was introduced to Carson actually still while you guys were kind of still around. He was a freshman, and so now he's gotten real close to Isaiah. So now they are what is after freshman? Sophomore.
Yeah.
Sorry, homeschooler. Don't know. And so like now they are the ones to look up to.
Yeah.
So it's
kind of fun how that torch has gotten passed. Like I remember when I first came to midweek, like for just a few months before kind of the next cycle of students, that like Jack was like the guy.
Yeah.
Like Jack was the guy. And then there was kind of, with my group, there was a lot of great, I mean, Adon was still there. Like I felt like I was one of those people that you were able to call on, and then it definitely was Adon.
Definitely
Adon, and then now it's like
even
Isaiah.
Jaden Lenza was really
Yeah,
good at
Jaden.
very friendly.
Absolutely.
That I knew that I could be like, hey, come here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all just already knew. I didn't have to say anything. I'd be like, this is, I don't know,
Yeah.
Paul. And you guys would just be like, dang, handle it from there. Just gone.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely grateful for that. And I don't see myself leaving CBC Students. And I'm sad. Midweek is not the same.
Yeah.
You left, and then everybody's gone. At least for like when you left, I still had.
You still had, because like
Hudson,
your main
Adon.
like OG group was a year younger than me.
Yes, because
So,
you came a little bit after.
I did.
And then so now I go to midweek and I'm like,
but I do have to say, something I've been really impressed by this summer is just how like not just how big the student rep team is, but like the student rep team is solid.
oh yeah,
Like, not to say that when I was around it wasn't, but definitely wasn't as big.
mm-hmm.
Like there were not as many students, and there's maybe half as many. And now it's like I feel like there's so many student reps. They come early to help out. Like I didn't ever come early to help out, like set up, because I mean I had school, but like these kids are great. Like the one that sticks out for sure is like Savannah. Like
Mm-hmm.
Savannah's great. She's always there early to help out. And so it's neat. There's a lot of and Easton's
Mm-hmm.
great. He's a stud. Like all these kids who are like really dedicated, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
And it's really nice to see that on the student rep team. Like see that grow.
yeah. Just in case you're wondering too, my dog is whimping in the background. That's the dog. If I don't give her attention, she starts whimping. So if you hear that, it's the dog. She's over there behind the camera, so you can't see her. But anyway, yeah, man, again, I'm so grateful for you and Leo and Aiden and Barrett. Like, you guys are definitely people that I think about all the time. Like, students is not the same without you, and I'm excited for the new movement.
Yeah.
You know, because every year I was there, somebody graduated. You know,
Exactly.
but you guys were moving up, and then I just, man, and then you graduated, and I was devastated, but at the same time I was like, all right, I still have some of them, and then this was the year I knew it. This was the year I dreaded. And it finally happened. I got to go. Oh my gosh, this year's graduations. There were so
go to like
many.
a dozen?
I had so many. And then there was Madison. No. Oh my gosh. It was Great Hearts, Mona Vista, and Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
My two biggest school groups, because Mona Vista was Hudson, Adon, Jack Barnwell, and then oh my gosh, I forget his name. I'm gonna have to edit that out because I don't want him to forget.
That's crazy.
But it was a huge group. Started at 3:00, and Reagan was my longest group, and one of my biggest groups, Jaden, Ian, and oh my gosh, Zane, and
all those guys.
my gosh,
Was Hudson?
No, Hudson was Great Hearts. Braden. Oh my! And then there's just so much more that were just. So I had to, as soon as Great Hearts Mona Vista ended, which thankfully there was a class of like 30, so it was very quick. And as soon as it ended, I ran to the Alamo Dome and got to Reagan, so I was able to see all of them walk, and I wasn't able to see everybody.
For Reagan?
Hundreds. It was the long, and I wasn't even there for half of it. So
mine was like.
Yeah, yours was long.
You were at the whole thing.
Yes.
You endured for my graduation.
And it was a Sunday morning.
Yeah. You sacrificed. And also, then you put up with going to my whole family dinner afterwards.
Yep.
Which was a miracle that even happened. And the fact that you were there, I was like, thank goodness David is here. I was like, praise God. I need someone who's not a part of my family at this dinner.
Except for your mom.
Oh, yeah. My mom is the best.
Yeah.
But just in general, it's like, oh my gosh. I was when my mom afterwards, she was like, we're all going to dinner. I'm like, we are? Wow. All right. David, help me.
Yep. I was there for my boy.
Yep.
But yeah, so man, I'm excited for the new season of CBC Students. And honestly too, I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast yet, the people that listen, it's been a minute. I have stepped up to the next stage of CBC's growth is Common Ground, which now is Common Ground in young adults, but it was just I couldn't let go of all my people. Everybody's moving up to the common ground. The ones that are staying in San Antonio and not going to school are now part of common ground. And I was like, all right. So I actually did talk to Pastor Nick, and he's like, look, I'm not trying to take you from students. I was like, well, I'm not leaving students.
Yeah.
But I just, I want to get involved. And it actually helps because it's easy for some of these kids that are graduating from high school, moving into common ground, a familiar face. So yes, they'll call me or text me, hey, you going to common ground tonight or CG? And I'm like, yep, I'll be there. We'll sit together and those kind of things. And so I like to, because they don't give me a lot of responsibility at common ground, so I can kind of just
hang out,
do whatever it is that I do, talk to anybody and everybody. So
and I think common ground is generally easier to manage because it's like the people who are at common ground are people who want to be there.
Yes.
Right? Because you get a lot of people at midweek who are there just because their parents dropped them off.
Yeah.
But at common ground, everyone who's there is by their own will, and you're not having to wrangle kids and keep them from doing stupid stuff. It's like
they're adults.
They're adults.
They drive.
So
they drive there.
They don't wander off. They don't do dumb stuff. And if they wander out of the church, great. Do whatever you want.
Or the students that show up at commund ground.
Oh,
Every once in a while, I'll spot a student. I'm like, oh, student alert.
You should be here.
But you know what? It makes me happy that they're just so hungry for God they'll show up. And I was like, honestly, I don't care if you come, as long as you come to CG or midweek tomorrow, because that's your thing,
right?
And then obviously you have to be careful because they're younger in a setting with now young adults too. So
I was talking about that the other day in the portable. It's like I love to. I'm like, it's great to see some of these kids, but I'm also like,
yeah, you don't
want to be getting hit on by someone who's 35 now, because they think you're 18.
Yeah. So there's definitely some caution there, but. Anyway, so one thing I do want you to talk about real quick, a little bit, is your journey to Jesus. I know that you said you came to San Antonio as you were going into your freshman year of high school. And I know a little bit about your journey. I know that you and your mom were both very, or even your dad, like very atheist, very non-believing. And then somehow you're here, and if I would have just met you, knowing you just now, and you telling me the little bit that I know, I would have never believed you or your mom, because both of you guys are just so on fire for Jesus. Like, I would have never have guessed that you guys were so people of such disbelief. So talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna start from very early on. So my family, it's my nuclear family is me, my mom, dad, and big brother. Big brother's 8 years older than me. Wicked musician. Super good at what he does. But my whole family is like, from top to bottom, my whole even extended family is like atheist. Like, that is, we're not singled out in that. Like, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody I know is atheist. And so growing up, it was just like, that was my belief. That's exactly what everything I thought was. Like, believed in evolution as a means of our existence. I believed in science, everything. And I still believe in a lot of scientific things, but I think science complements God.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Yeah. And so then then a big part of my life was Taekwondo. That was like a key. I can't go through this podcast without talking that, because when I was 7 years old, I started doing Taekwondo because I was 7 years old and I wanted to be a ninja, like all other kids. We all want to be astronauts, firefighters, ninjas, all that cool stuff. So I started going to Taekwondo, but then a couple of years go by and I start competing in it, and I start like really putting in the effort. I hop coaches. I start training with a national coach, several different national coaches, all the way until one point I'm third in the nation. Like,
wow.
That was during COVID that I really hit that peak of my Taekwondo career. And the reason I was able to really do that is because during COVID, I was homeschooled by my mom, and I just did Taekwondo. So my day looked like, woke up, did school, and did Taekwondo, and then went to sleep. And that was every day, every single day of the week. That's what it looked like. And so Taekwondo was very much an idol of mine. But even more an idol of mine, and I think this is something that this is probably one of my biggest growing points even to this day, was my mom. Like, because my mom was my teacher, my mom was also kind of my coach in Taekwondo, because I didn't live in the same state as my actual coach, so I would have virtual calls with her like once a week, but my mom was the one who actually would sit in me in my practice and like tell me what to do and show me and be my second set of eyes, right? And it was absolutely because of my mom that I was able to be third in the nation. I wouldn't have done it without her. But the issue is that also I got to a point where everything I did revolved around pleasing my mom. And also, the hard part about that point in our life is that, not being in Christ, I had really bad anxiety. I suffered from depression, stuff like this. But also, my mom had really bad anger issues. And so if I didn't do well in school, if I didn't do well in Taekwondo, she would get really mad at me. And so that was really where my idolization of my mom was birthed, was I think in that kind of middle school period, really. And so then when I moved to Texas, I still did Taekwondo for about a year, so my freshman year of high school. And so, but it was really hard because I was trying to adjust and everything, and still not quite sure of who I was because I was, 14. And so I did Taekwondo. I suffered a pretty bad injury my freshman year, but still kept going. But then sophomore year came, and I suffered a really bad injury. I tore my meniscus in my right knee, and that's like an injury that you can't really come back from because the meniscus doesn't really heal. And so at that point, I was like, I knew that I was really done with Taekwondo, and it was kind of an easy out. And I think it was God's way of helping kind of get me out of that so that I could focus on education and eventually focus on God. And so then that was at the beginning of my sophomore year. Later that sophomore year, my dad leaves my mom and I and moves away from both of us. And so at this point, I'm just living with my mom because my brother moved away when I was about 10 because he went off to college and then just moved out of the house after that. He's in New York, so he's not around locally. And so it really was just my mom and I and it has been since, would be 2023, I think it would be now, because it's just over 3 years. Yeah. And so at that point, my mom and I really kind of hit a point where we realized we needed to fix our relationship, because of just some, family drama and just we recognize our own struggles. And, my dad left because he wasn't willing to put up with my mom's anger. And what was really unfortunate is that just the very point at which my mom really started to change that is when he left. And so through that, we just started to grow, and we really came to actually believe in the idea of spirituality at first, at least for myself. I know my mom has a little bit different path on how she came to Christ, but we did it still together. And so my mom started going through a 12-step program called Emotions Anonymous. So, she learned so much through that, and I kind of learned a lot of stuff from that class kind of through her and what she would tell me, and it really helped heal our relationship and start to help us be accountable for ourselves and just recognize our own emotions and be really mature emotionally. And so come September of 2023, my mom asks me, hey, I've been looking at this church online. Would you be willing to go with me one Sunday? And she told me that she was like really scared to ask me that because, she knew me as an atheist.
Wow.
Right. But at this point, I had started to kind of consider the idea of a higher being, because the 12-step program really highlights the idea that the 12-step programs often are really rooted as Christian groups, but they at least say you need to believe in something bigger than yourself. That's how you step away from habits and bad addictions and things like that. And so I started to actually consider the idea of a higher being, which was a really big step for me because at first, my whole life, I just didn't believe in that. And so we go to CBC for the first time in September.
CBC was the first church y'all.
First church technically my mom had ever been to.
Okay.
Second church service I had ever been to.
Okay.
Because I believe like literally just a few months before, Aiden invited me to Church Unlimited for one service, for one Sunday. And I mean, I'm very thankful they invited me, but it wasn't like, that definitely wasn't a big turning point for me because I was just kind of there and I was like, oh, cool. Because I still wasn't quite there with my belief. And so, funny enough, we go to the first CBC service together, but then we're like, oh, this is great. I think we're going to come back. our schedules just don't line up. And so she and I actually end up going to different service times across the next few weeks. And I went alone for a couple times, and I think it was on my third visit to CBC that I had just heard Pastor Ed preach, and I, simply put, I didn't fully believe in everything the Bible said. I didn't fully believe or agree with everything the Bible said, but I did, at that point in my life, believe that Jesus not only existed, but that he was my Lord and Savior, that he died for me, that he rose again. And that, as I believe, is when I was saved, right? like I said, I didn't fully believe everything in the Bible. I was still very, fresh in my beliefs. Also, throughout my life, my whole family was very liberal in our political beliefs. And so a lot of that didn't line up with what I knew about the Bible. But at the bare minimum, I believed in Jesus, and I confessed that. And so that's when I believe I was saved. I believe after that, any point after that, I would go to heaven if I were to have died, God forbid. But I definitely wasn't walking out my faith yet. And my mom gave her life in a very similar scenario, going to CBC Sunday service. And I think it was in October, November. I think it was November. So very, very short after me. So around the same time, and it was really neat to walk that out together. And so she had a very similar experience where it was she kind of struggled with wrestling some of the other specifics of the Bible. And it wasn't really until one weekend where I met you that
That's awesome.
Yeah, that I really start to walk out my faith, because for the first couple months of, I think, being saved, I started praying. I kept going to church. I wasn't going to midweek yet. But so I just went to Sunday services. But I didn't have a Bible yet. And I think it was around Christmas time that year that I actually got myself a Bible. I got it from the old CBC bookstore.
Yeah.
I should have brought my Bible today. I don't know why I didn't. But I got it from the old CBC bookstore. I just went in there. I found the coolest looking Bible I could. Nice leather casing. I was like, oh, this will work. And so
after one weekend or before one weekend?
Before one weekend.
Okay.
A few months. But I didn't open it very much. What did I do when I read it? I opened it to Genesis 1, right? As any new Christian would. I don't understand the idea of an Old and New Testament and all that. And so then I come to one weekend, which I wasn't really super keen on. My mom was like, "Oh, you should go to one weekend. This looks really cool." I was like, "I have no clue what this is," right? Because I didn't grow up in church. I had no idea what the idea of a church conference was. I hadn't been to midweek yet. So much stuff in the church community, especially the Protestant evangelical church community, is so foreign to me at this point, because it's there's a lot of people who even grew up in church and then walked away from the faith, or have had church hurt and stuff like that, and so they're at least familiar with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I had no clue, so I had no idea what I was walking into. So I went to it with Aiden and Cameron Ingram, and we were in your group, and you and what was the other guy's name? It was
the guy with the leg, right?
He had a prosthetic leg.
Yeah. It was Emery, or
he had a very he definitely had a lady's name.
Merle or Merle.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I see him at church every so often, and he'll come up to me and say hello.
I don't think I've seen him.
Yeah,
once.
it's very rare, but I'll see him and he'll come up to me. He's like, "Hey, David," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, bro?"
Yeah.
But yes, I remember that group. Yeah. That was my biggest group.
Oh,
that group was.
I don't know how
massive.
It wasn't like we were requested to be in your group. We just got randomly put in your group.
Yep.
And I find that so funny. That's such a God thing.
Yeah.
And so it was me, Aiden, and Cameron, and it was there that I think by that point I had heard enough in church and started to really read my Bible enough that I was like, okay, this is now time for me to fully walk out my faith every day. This is where I go all in. And so it was also at one weekend that I decided to get baptized, because I'd been wrestling with the idea of baptism, because I was I'm saved, but do I need to get baptized and all this stuff? And Leo actually was one of the guys who helped me a lot with baptism.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I had a sleepover with him and our buddy Charles one night. It was for his birthday. It was in February, and we were talking about baptism, and I was like, I don't know about getting baptized. And they're like, oh yeah, baptism's, really important for your faith. Because I think they had both been baptized as infants. Because Leo, I think Leo was Catholic when he was younger, or like has Catholic family. But also then he wanted to then get rebaptized as time went on, because that's a whole other story. But basically, at one weekend, I was like, this is where I need to really step out and be fully obedient. And that's when I really started to believe a lot more of the other things in the Bible. That's where my beliefs started to become much more conservative. My life really changed at one weekend, because I think that is where I started to fully walk with Christ. I prayed much more frequently. By that point, my mom and I had a whole year almost of really healing our relationship, and so our relationship was in a much better place. It was much more grounded in Jesus, and Aiden and I got really even closer at one weekend. I know he had the incident with his brother right after that, which was,
I remember that. Yeah.
although tragic, a really big bonding point for us. And so, yeah, one weekend was where I think the biggest shift for me happened, because it was like I went from being saved to being sanctified. And so,
She's trying to make her way up here. She knows she's getting in trouble.
but yeah, and so after that, Leo and I started going to church a lot more together, because it was so cool. When I think it was right after one weekend, I also heard about the Rebel Night, back when we did Rebel Nights.
Wait, and didn't I go with y'all?
No, not the men's conference. It was a Rebel Night.
Right.
It was a single, and this was like right after one weekend.
Yes, but I remember going to Rebel Night it was you, Barrett, and Leo, and I wasn't gonna go. But you guys were
No. You're talking about the men's conference.
Okay,
we'll get there.
Okay,
but the Rebel Night, you were not. It was just me and Leo. I remember.
Okay.
I would have remembered if you were there, and it was like only a single like evening event, and we haven't done a Rebel Night like ever since.
It's been a minute.
I know that was kind of an older thing that we did before, like we had the men's conference and men's retreat and all that kind of stuff. And so I heard about it right after one weekend, and of course I had the post conference like high, yeah, like that's when I first experienced church high. I think was one weekend, which I think is I think church high can be something to watch out for students, but it can be a great catalyst of making new habits. I think a lot of people get church high mixed up with their actual like belief and and all that, which I think is something I've really explored in the last year, because I think my faith has grown a lot in the last year, in that like understanding of that. And so, but I think it was a wonderful catalyst for me, and so I was writing that church high, and I went to Rebel Night, and I was like, Leo, you should go to this with me. And so that was the first time Leo started coming to CBC, was at Rebel Night. And we just, and all that started happening, and then I was like, I want to get baptized. And then he also said he wanted to get baptized. And then Charles also wanted to get baptized. But the best part is my mom and I got baptized at the exact same time. So we got baptized in early April, first weekend of April in 2024. So right after, literally like a month after one weekend, we registered like as soon as we could. I remember coming home to my mom like the night of one weekend, being like, Mom, I want to get baptized. Because she had kind of been like urging it a little bit. She was like, maybe we should. And then once I said so, she was like, let's do it together. So it was really cool, like with the way CBC, because they baptize like 3-4 people at a time.
Yeah.
My mom and I got in together. My mom and I were baptized at the exact same time, which I think is just so cool. Like I love the fact that my mom and I were baptized at the same time. I think that's really, really neat, because just of how we've walked out and been very in step with one another and healing our own relationship, but also most importantly building our relationship with Jesus. And then Leo and Charles were baptized at the same time with the next kind of cycle of people, which was so cool. But also hard for Leo because he had a broken collarbone when he got baptized.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew that.
Yeah. And so what was really neat is that right after I was baptized, I got a text from Pastor Casey, our old high school pastor.
The goat.
The goat. I do miss Casey.
Yeah.
But he was inviting me to midweek. or not invited me to midweek. Sorry, he was inviting me to join his community group because I think they were just doing mass texts post baptism, and which was a wonderful answer to prayer because after my baptism, I was really like praying for a good Christian community. Like I remember one day I was driving home in the car from school, and I was like, God, now that I've been baptized, I've got through one weekend. Like I love having Aiden around, but it'd be nice to have some other people at CBC. And I didn't really know about midweek. And then literally that evening, Casey texts me. And so I find out about midweek. I start going to midweek. I start bringing Leo to midweek with me. I went to Casey's community group, which unfortunately only lasted like a few weeks.
That's right. 'Cause I think I started going to Casey's group around that time.
And then, of course, that had to stop once he announced that he was moving up to Denver. And then, of course, it just stopped because of the school year. And so, yeah, and that was back when we really didn't do midweek during the summer.
Yeah.
So I kind of did midweek for a little bit, and then we did a few events during the summer, but
they were like city nights or something like that.
We did city nights, but there weren't a lot of like weekly events.
Right.
And so I went to as many as I could, and that summer was really good because I just continued to grow in my faith, and then that was all sophomore year. That was all sophomore year of high school. No, sorry, wrong. That was all junior year of high school. And so then comes senior year of high school, which, my goodness, was so much happened senior year of high school. Definitely one of the more challenging years, just in terms of how much I was doing. Like I was taking like almost all AP classes, and then I was trying to run my nonprofit, and my mom and I were starting to get into real estate, and
not to mention Coop Scoops.
That was a good summer. That was definitely a summer venture, summer venture and like early senior year venture, which was a lot of fun. I loved Coop Scoops, but definitely on the back burner now. I should have brought Coop Scoops here.
Could get a sponsor.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. Brought to you by Coop Scoops.
Yeah. So yeah, that was up until senior year, and then very last like month of senior year was rocky with just graduation and
yeah, you were very busy, I remember.
Yeah. And then last summer was really busy because my mom and I were like head first into real estate. And so we started our real estate business and all that stuff. And that was really good. I'm very thankful we're still in that. And then I went to Baylor. And so now I'm officially a Baylor student, and I guess my very first like real Baylor experience was line camp last year. So basically for those who don't know, what line camp is at Baylor is, well, I guess even simpler, is the tradition of the Baylor line is a tradition we have where essentially once you become a Baylor student, you are part of the line. You are part of the Baylor line. And so the line is kind of our idea of community, and it's most like visibly embodied at the football games as freshmen because we get to do something called Run the Line, which is where at the very beginning of the game, all the freshmen get to storm the field, run across the field. We create like a little opening for the football team to walk in, and then after that, we go on to our student section. And of course, that freshman student section is all freshmen. We have our line jerseys, which are all the same color. And so it's just the sea of gold, all, of course, behind the opposing team. And so I've heard some crazy things shouted at the opposing team from the freshman student section. It's crazy, but it's so much fun. So the first experience that no one is required to go to, but most people do, is called line camp. And so what line camp is where incoming freshmen or transfer students go to kind of in tandem with what's it called? Orientation. That's what I was looking for. And so you go to orientation for a day, and then line camp is like 3 days, and they take your phone, so you have no phone, which is like the best part. Yeah. Honestly, like not having my roommate loves Instagram, so it was really hard for him. But like,
it would have been hard for me too.
I genuinely love not having my phone because was able to just not give a care at all. And so you're just put with a random group and a group leader, and you just learn about Baylor tradition. You do these fun activities for just 3 days without a phone, and it is like the coolest thing. Like I would say I'm not super close by any means with any of the people who were in my line group for line camp, but they were all lovely people, and it was a wonderful introduction to Baylor and learning about like I'm not a huge crier. But when we one of the best parts about line camp is we go to Independence, Texas, at the original place where Baylor was founded, because Baylor wasn't always in Waco. Baylor was founded in Independence in 1845 and then moved to Waco later on. And so we go to the original remains of the Independence Baylor campus, and it's all that's left are these 4 big pillars. And they're a big thing under Baylor tradition. And what we do is we do just a bunch of worship at this location, and then after we do worship together, we pray with our group leaders, and then we receive our line jerseys. That's when we receive our line jersey. And I know it sounds cultish, but like it's genuinely
it's a
one of
college
the most
experience.
beautiful things I've ever done, because and it happens right at sunset. So we're worshiping out in this. I mean, Independence is the middle of nowhere, and so we're just out in this beautiful field with beautiful trees, and it's sunset, and we just have the 4 pillars, and it's my favorite experience worshiping ever, because it was literally just this one lady, she just had her piano. It was just her piano, and her whoever was like whoever's controlling like the sound and stuff. Her voice was very low, so most of it was literally just everybody singing together and a piano, and it was just like, that's my favorite kind of worship. Like I do enjoy like the really high production CBC worship, and that's so much fun. But really, just what's more like beautiful to me than the lights or even the people singing on stage is when everyone as a collective is singing together.
Yeah.
And I just bawled my eyes. Like I'm not much of a crier, but I just started weeping, and then I got my jersey and I cried more, and it was like wow. Like Baylor does such a good job of making you realize that you are part of a family.
Yeah.
And I felt it there. And so that was the beginning of my Baylor journey, and it could not have been better. And then last August is when I moved in and I started. I was blessed because I knew my roommate in high school ahead of time. He was actually my first friend I made in high school.
Wow.
Which, crazy how God brought that together. It's like the dude who I met in my very first period class at my first year of high school, who sat next to me, ended up being my roommate in college. Like, that's crazy to me. And so he was my roommate. My suite mate was his twin brother, and this other dude, Nate, for our first semester. I do miss Nate. He moved off after first semester to go back home. He wanted to be in Pennsylvania. So, but yeah, Baylor was amazing. There's so many different traditions that you get to be like. Baylor's ranked, I think, number 2 in the nation for like first year experiences, and it shows because freshmen.
Wow, yeah.
We have welcome week. We have there's so much that revolves around the first football game, where I almost died because of how hot it was. Because in order to actually run the line, you have to get there really early, before the game, and because it was the first game of the year, all the freshmen want to do it. Like after the first game, it's like people are like, okay, I've done it. Some people don't do it again. I did it. I think every single game. I ran the line every single game, and I did a mohawk for almost every
Yes, I
single
saw
one.
those. I saw that.
Yeah, except for the morning games. I think it was a little too tight. It was a little too early to get up to do the mohawk, but I did a mohawk for the very first game. I got a jumbotron like 10 times, and yeah, me and a bunch of friends who I'd already met, and that was, I'd say probably the most special part of my college experience has been the people in my dorm. So the way my dorm works, I'm a part of what's called a living learning community, an LLC. So it's like a dorm that's kind of focused around like a certain kind of thing. Like there's a outdoor exploration LLC. There's a business LLC. I'm part of the lead LLC, so it just helps cultivate leadership. And it's split between two dorm halls. It's the Allen, which is the all guys dorm, and Dawson, which is the adjacent all girls dorm. And it's definitely one of the smaller dorms on campus, but it's also such a blessing, the newest renovated dorm. So it's not, I mean, it's actually a really old building, but like it's brand new on the inside, and the rooms are
really
so
nice.
Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, you've been there.
I got the tour.
You got the tour, yeah. Oh my goodness, it's so nice. I love it. And so the Allen and Dawson are connected by a common area, and like day one of move-in, people just started hanging out in the common area, and that's where I've met some of my like probably lifelong friends. Like in the first week, I met probably some people who will be at my wedding, who I will like cherish forever. Like Aiden and Leo, of course, are my like OG best friends, but I would say like my other friend Cannon is, I would definitely regard as like my best friend, and I met him at Baylor. Really funny about Cannon is he and I at first, before like really getting to know each other, we really thought we both thought each person was mean, because we kind of have like an RBF. We both have like really bad RBFs, but like Cannon might be the sweetest dude I know. Like you know Ryan, like Ryan Ireland, like I mean, absolute golden retriever.
Yep.
Of a dude.
Yep.
Cannon is even more so. Like Cannon is just like the sweetest guy, but has crazy RBF, and I do too. So we both were like, I don't know about this dude, and then we went on a trip together as a group, and I'm like, oh wait, this dude's awesome. So yeah, funny story. But like that's the best. That was by far the best part, and I think what was such a blessing about Allen Dawson is that in that common area, we undoubtedly formed a family. Like the amount of time we spent together, the level of connection, like we would hang out every day. We hang out every single day. We are always out. That's our living room. Like we study out there. I mean, we started a bunch of traditions together. Like Sunday nights, we do a prayer circle together, but also we do, the big thing is movie night, right? Like, it started with basically, I was like, hey guys, we should watch Interstellar one night. So we watched Interstellar, and then we're like, oh, this is awesome. Let's do this again tomorrow night. And so I was like, let's watch Peanut Butter Falcon, which is another amazing movie.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, it's so good. So you have to. Peanut Butter Falcon. I know the name sounds weird. It's amazing. Most funny and heartwarming. It's like that is my comfort movie for sure. And then we watched another movie, and just like it just continued. And this is all before like class starts, because we have like several days before class starts. And it's like it just started from there, and we started doing movie nights every week, and then fall break comes, and a bunch of us go to Dallas together to go to Six Flags, and then we go to the lake, we go to the Waco Rodeo, and then and then during Thanksgiving break, our first like big separation, we're like, guys, it feels weird being separated from each other. Like we really all missed each other. We would hop on group phone calls and be like, oh my gosh, guys, we miss you. And it's been like a week. Our Thanksgiving break was like a week.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean that, and what I've said before is I think the reason it's so special to me is because the reality is my personal family isn't together, right? My parents are divorced. My brother lives apart from us. My brother is also very against my mom and I being Christian, and we've never really lived near our distant relatives like grandparents and aunts, and so it's just like I've never really, and even when our family was together, it was not healthy, and so I've never really known a healthy family and a Christ-centered family, and that's what I got at Baylor. But also the beauty of it is that I would say the majority of those people there are Christian and walk in faith, and we get to do that together. But also the beauty of it is that some of them aren't. Some of them are atheists. Like my roommate's atheist, or my freshman year roommate. I have a new roommate this coming year. And so we have these two twins who are Muslim, and it's really nice to have a diversity, because it's like we're able to really just show the love of Jesus, but also still have a wonderful community.
Yeah.
And we allow, I think, Jesus to be the center of it, even though some people aren't of the faith. And I could not have asked for anything better. And the nice thing is several people are staying in the dorm. A lot of people are moving off campus. There's kind of like, there's a couple of like main houses where a lot of people are moving in together. Like, that's the cool part. A lot of people who are moving off campus are moving in with those same people. So it's like we kind of still have these little clusters of that family. And so I think it's going to continue. But the best part is we've also got a whole bunch of freshmen who are moving in. Like the majority of the people who are going to be living in Allen Dawson will be freshmen. And we just get more people to kind of join that family. And that's the best part.
Yeah.
So.
And the college experience sounds amazing, especially when you go to a university like that. I unfortunately did not get that experience. I mean, I went to community college.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, SAC, San Antonio College, for those who don't know. They pretty much call it San Pedro High. Yeah. But, I mean, that was my high school because I was homeschooled for high school. Yeah. So that was my high school experience.
Community college is tough.
It is tough.
It's like the worst part of college. You just get to go to classes, and that's like it.
Yeah. And it's, well, I've got stories. But, some of the friends that my brother and I went to college together, and then who is now my sister-in-law, my brother's wife. Mm-hmm. We all went to college together. So, and then another friend of ours named Steven, all went to school together at SAC. And man, we've got stories, but that's not for today. Yeah. But
I know even Aiden went to SAC for a semester, and he just didn't like it.
It's not, yeah. I mean, back then, again, homeschooler. So okay. I'm just going to admit this. I am not made for school. Okay, I learn by just learning. I cannot sit in a classroom and take tests and do essays and things. I can't. It frustrates me, and I'm an overthinker, even when it comes to my job now. Like, a simple task can sometimes become difficult for me because then I start overanalyzing something, and it's just take it as base value. Like, just like today, I told you today was kind of rough because we going back to an audit for our report, and I was just having today was just a hard day, and I had been having great few weeks, and I think I told you in the beginning of the summer, like I was just really stressed out at work because there was a lot of pressure and all these things, and lately it had been doing great, and man, today was like the first bad day I had in a while. But I'll take a bad day every now and again. But anyway, but like I just in school, I just remember I just was not going to class. Like I just didn't want to, but I liked the social part of it. Like I made some friends and out of it, and but I am a 155,000% extrovert. Yeah. So I'll talk to anybody. Yeah, man, I listened to you telling these things, but man, I kind of wish I could just go back in time and go to college for at least 1 year. Like, that's so cool.
The thing about college that's so interesting is it's like, yes, I have friends from class, but funny enough, none of the people who I'm like really close with are people I made friends with in class. Like, I have only a few friends I would say who I'm like close with from class. Almost all the people I'm like really close with, that family, is the people I lived with. Yeah. And I think that's what's really missing with community college is like, yes, you can make friends in class, but it's like, it's the people you live with. And also Baylor just does such a good job of facilitating. Like, literally the first night after you move in, we do a whole entire lead LLC dinner together. Like, that's catered dinner, and you meet the like dorm hall leaders. Right. And that's what I'm so excited for about this year, is that I get to be a part of the group that gets to put that on for freshmen, because I'm going to be a committee leader, or a committee member, I would say, in the lead LLC. And so I get to be a part of that group that helps the kids move in. And did you know that even on as long as you don't do early move in, like if you do regular move in, a big thing Baylor does for freshmen is you don't have to lift a finger with moving your stuff from your car into your dorm. They have a swarm of volunteers do it for you.
That reminds me of Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. It was incredible. Like, it truly was incredible. I pulled up we had 2 cars full of my stuff. We pull up. We're like, okay, I'm in room 315. Grab our stuff. In a matter of a minute, it's all out of our car. I go up to my dorm. Boom. It's all in my dorm.
That's awesome.
What? And then that's really cool, is that because we're like part of the lead LLC, we're like, okay, we're going to do that for other people. And so on the next day, with the next kind of set of move in, we got to help out at Collins, which is the biggest dorm hall on campus by a mile. It's a 6-story first year girls dorm, and it's huge. I mean, it's probably more than double the size of Alan Dawson, and you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to just help out with that. So we just, all of the lead LLC people went over there, and we would just take people's stuff and bring it up to their room. And it's so cool that we get to do that. It get like that is also done for us.
That's so cool.
It's amazing.
That's a really good hospitality.
It is. I mean, it's like
lesson.
the first thing you do when you get to Baylor is you don't have to lift a finger. I mean, yes, you have to arrange your stuff when it's in the room, but like you don't have to worry about going up 6 flights of stairs with all your stuff, right? Because then it's like, because kids are nervous about school. I was nervous. I'm like, this is so new. I like this. There's no bigger change in life for people than when they go off to college.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's just starting that. I mean, we have a whole thing called Welcome Week, and literally there's activities every single day from the moment you move in till the day classes start. And of course, the best part is the very final event is a worship night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's
That's
awesome.
how you close it out.
It's a candlelit worship. So everyone's holding a candle and we're all worship. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think the only thing near that, when I was a kid, I used to go to this little youth group in Kerrville, Texas, and they had this thing called Prayer Mountain, and it was always done on Wednesday night because
is that at the garden?
it was. I think the camp was called Hill Country Camp. It was very Assemblies of God. My uncle was a youth pastor at an Assemblies of God church here in San Antonio, and so the church that my family were part of was very small, and it was very, for lack of a better word, traditional.
I remember seeing a video of you worshiping there. I remember you posting that. Was that?
No, that was not.
Was that not your?
No, that was way after
okay.
that. The one I got hit in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
That was way after. We were set free from that tradition.
Oh.
That was our freedom, my freedom when I was really was pursuing Jesus. And but this little church, and it was very there's actually a Netflix documentary about the homeschool program that we had started with, but thank God that my mom caught on to this early on, because it's actually not the Netflix, it's on
Hulu.
No, I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Shiny Happy People.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I watched it, and there's another series going on about like Acquire the Fire and all those things, and you know, you take what you take and you throw what you don't. But like, I can say that it was about the Advanced Training Institute and Bill Gothard in that group, and it was a homeschool program. It was very strict, very kind of cultish. No, I'm not gonna even say cultish. It was a cult, and you know, when me and my brother first started our homeschool journey, the pastors had given us some of that curriculum, and I remember my mom going through it, and I will never forget. We were sitting at the table, and she was going through it, and she read a scripture, and then read what the curriculum was interpreting scripture. And I remember her stopping. She's like, "No." And she closed the book, and she's like, "We're not doing this."
Good for
her. So the next day we went to I think it's still called Feast Office here in San Antonio, and we bought some homeschool curriculum that was biblically based, and it was a little bit more sound. And we went on with that, but yeah. So I was going to this Assemblies of God camp, and we would go up to this prayer mountain, and we'd have candlelit service, and I'll never forget it. That's the first thing I thought when you're talking about when you had your worship night, and it was very simple, because yes, we go to CBC, so we have like the production,
we have a production team like that,
and it's so cool. There's nothing wrong with it, but man, there's just something about going to a worship, and we do this even at CBC, but like that was one of my first experiences. Actually, no, I take it back. That was my first experience in a worship setting that much. We were on this mountain, and it was kind of lit, and I'll never forget it. That was the first time I ever heard that song, Better Is One Day. Those are the youth songs back then. We didn't have elevation rhythm and those things like that. It was
Moses your guest speaker back then?
Oh my God. Yeah, he taught us about the 10 Commandments and all the things, but like so I remember it was better, and it was a guitar, and we had the candle lit, and we would nail a prayer card to the mountain and things like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but that when you were talking about that was what I was thinking of. But yeah, man, I think that it's so cool to see students like yourself who are so on fire for Jesus, and then going into the quote unquote, oh, she's gonna jump on the couch if you let her, secular places, and even Baylor being, you know, a Christian university, but seeing the pull that it has
Oh,
for
yeah.
like Muslims to be there and atheists to be there, I think it's such a
the
missionary.
demographic is
Yeah, I mean, even when I went, like, I didn't know that it was a Christian school
yeah.
because I know some people that go there that are far from the faith,
Oh yeah.
and but I love that Baylor is open, and it gives the opportunity for people to
Yeah.
seek after
Mm-hmm.
the truth.
I think what I love about Baylor is I think as a school it embodies like one of my very favorite quotes. It's by Martin Luther, and he says, like I think I wrote it down, but I won't have it word for word. But basically, the Christian shoemaker is not Christian because he puts crosses on every single shoe. It's because he makes the best shoes. And I remember hearing that a while ago, and I was like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. And I think that's relevant in so many different spaces, in media, in churches, in everything. And I think Baylor embodies that really well, because it's like, yes, we're a Christian school. Yes, our mission statement revolves around Jesus, and so much of what we do revolves around Jesus. But we're not just a Christian school because we're Christian. We're a Christian school because there are fruits of the school's labor.
Yeah.
And that is that we are an incredible school, just as is.
Yeah.
And just about any program we have is going to be one of the best. I mean, our business school is like one of, if not the best in Texas. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
So all around, I mean, our seminary is one of the best in Texas. Truett Seminary, shout out.
Yeah.
I'll be there in a few years.
That's awesome.
Ideally.
I'm excited.
God willing. But yeah, I'm so excited. I am really, really excited for my college path.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. I mean, I've just seen you in this 1 year. And then when I made the trip up to Waco to visit you and see Forrest Frank. But when I went to when you showed me around the school, and then we went to that place to eat, which had the best Brussels sprouts
Oh yeah.
I've ever tasted in my entire life. Milo? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I called it Elmo. I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, I think it's called Elmo. It's in Waco.
Milo.
But
Milo. It's up there with like one of the better like Waco restaurants. Like if people are on the Baylor campus and look up places to eat, Milo will be one of the first places to go up, because it's really close to campus. Super good. Everyone
I mean, Waco's such a beautiful little town. Like I went up there.
I could talk about Waco for hours.
Yeah, that's another day.
Yeah.
But like
the food in Waco.
Oh yeah. I
don't know what it is, but the Waco food scene is shockingly good.
It's Magnolia. That's why.
I have not been to Magnolia.
Well, I went to Magnolia for the concert.
That's funny. Like Magnolia is great and all, but like there's so much beyond Magnolia.
There's
3 things people think about when they think of Waco. They think of the Branch Davidians, they think of Baylor, or they think of Magnolia. And the couple who built Magnolia.
Yeah, I don't know their names.
I should know their names.
Yeah,
I really, as a real estate investor and as a Waco as someone who lives as a Waco resident, I should. Yeah, Chip and Joanna Gaines. Those are like the big 3 things of Waco.
Yeah,
we really try and forget the first one. Do you know about the Branch Davidians?
No.
Oh, you don't. Wow, that's a shocker.
That's
praise
dinner.
God.
We'll talk about that over dinner.
Yeah. More or less, there was a cult in Waco, and
I wouldn't be surprised. The small towns always have some weird histories.
It was something like the 80s or 90s, and then the FBI had a shootout with them. So like Waco was famous for that. Like whenever people like talk about Waco, they're like, "Oh, Branch Davidians." So like, they think of like.
Oh wait. Yes, I know this.
Yeah.
Sorry, as I get older, things are coming a little slower now.
Yeah, but no, that's good. That's the goal. The goal is for less people to think about that and more of them to think about Magnolia and Baylor.
It came later, but yeah, I went over to where I went to Waco went to the Forrest Frank concert with the Kyle brothers, Jackson and Hudson. And then I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity to go see Cooper. And I even drove out there early to spend time with you. And man, I was seeing you, and you introduced me to all these people. And I was just like a proud big brother. Like, I'm just so proud of you. Like, I miss you so much being here. And I'm already dreading, because as the summer is ending, there's a lot of you guys that are here for the summer that are in College Station and Waco. And I'm having so much fun seeing all of you guys and now being involved in Common Ground, and you guys are predominantly there now. And it's when y'all go back, I'm gonna come around like everybody's gone again. I've been left twice. I remember walking down and you're introducing me to all these people, and I was like seeing you're showing me your room and the living room spaces that you were showing me, and then just the campus. I was just like, man, I'm so proud of Cooper. I really am so proud of you, and getting to know like your mom, your mom is definitely a cheerleader for Jesus too.
My mom is the absolute best,
and she's definitely your cheerleader.
She is my second to Jesus. She is my biggest cheerleader, and I could not have done any of what I do without her. She is the best, and everyone loves her, and everyone knows it, and it's just like, it's like my favorite thing is like when I tell people that she's my mom, because there's a lot of people at church I realize who know her and know me, but don't know that we're related.
That to me, it's so strange.
It's so funny. But it's like, oh, that makes sense. But it's like the best part is like every time I talk about my mom, everyone's like, oh, I love your mom, and it's like I do too. She's the best.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh my gosh,
she's easy to get along with. She's like another Wade.
She really is.
Yeah.
She kind of is like you guys. Like she gets along so well. Everyone. I mean, I have never ever heard anyone not say that my mom is like awesome at church. Like she just is always, no matter what space she's in, even if she has a headache, she's always just like, it was so funny. Like the other night, we were she was serving at Common Ground, and then after the fact that evening, she was like, oh man, I've got a headache. I'm like, you do? You have a headache? I can't even tell. Nobody could tell. You're just so she just expresses such wonderful Jesus joy, and it's
Jesus joy.
Yeah,
I like that.
So good.
So there's a few questions I wanted to ask you real quick.
Yes, hit me.
Going back to students, because working in student ministry, and then I'm on TikTok a lot, because of the podcast and posting and things, and so my algorithm is all over the place. And some of the things that bother me as a leader and just somebody that loves people is I see a lot of posts, and it may be for clout, who knows? But if it's not, like, it still makes me think a lot, like, especially for going to a church of our size, like it's not easy to meet people at CBC.
Right.
There's definitely an effort. I think all of the things are there for you to meet people.
Absolutely.
Even with students, we got the small groups, CGs, and then even common ground, you have upper ground and all the CGs and those kind of things. And even with the church, with the big churches, you have she's gonna try. I don't like her on the couch.
No, I understand.
She's got the white hair and brown. It doesn't work well.
Oh, yeah.
But like we have community groups all over CBC. But what I want you to kind of talk about just real quick is, I want this to be heard for people that struggle. They're going to church or not going to church or anywhere. Like they're struggling to find connection. Like, what kind of advice can you give as someone who's gone to church by yourself for a little while, and then now you being so known now, and then someone that I depend on to introduce to people to, like, what kind of advice can you give to someone who's young going to a church and like who's really seeking community? And it's just hard because it doesn't matter.
It's hard to fall through the cracks at a big church.
Well, yes, but I agree with that. I do.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think it's easy because in a big church, like it doesn't matter. It could be a big church, small church. There are cliques, and I hate them so much. But it's just, I just feel like it's just the nature of humanity. There's going to be cliques.
It's hard not. It's impossible not to have cliques, and I think there are honestly value in cliques.
Oh, of course, right?
Because if everyone's in unity, then there's not as much. You need depth more than breadth sometimes, and I think that's what cliques achieve. Even in like my Baylor family, there are cliques within my Baylor family. I'm really blessed because I feel like I'm able to kind of hop from them very cleanly and like just connect with all of them. And that's like my favorite thing to do. But there are cliques. Yeah. And so,
well, for someone who, it's and it's something even I struggle with as a leader, and because I miss people, and there are times too, like even at CG, like I'll see people by themselves, and I'm like, something inside me just freezes, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. And then I go home, and on the way home, I'm like beating myself up because I'm like, man, I missed an opportunity. Yeah. But just some advice, like something real quick, like say, like what advice would you give to someone who is seeking community, especially in a church setting or even in a college setting where they're by themselves. And I think I don't care what anybody says. Like there are people that like to be alone, and that's not a bad thing. But I think everybody seeks a friendship.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had times in my life where I told myself I wanted to be alone and I didn't. I think this is going to be kind of a harder truth for some people, is that I think a lot of people are not trying as hard to find community as they should be. And I think that there are a lot of people who say they're trying and like, oh, I'm just really like, try harder. I like this is kind of a hard truth, but I think people need to just, and this is from personal experience, you just got to try a little harder to talk to people, because it's scary to talk to new people, especially in high school, because there's just the social pressures and drama and everything in high school are just so tremendous. And I as someone who really struggled with bullying at times and anxiety and just all of that, it can be really hard. But the reality is, I can't speak for every church, but, for CBC students, there are community groups everywhere. There are so many community groups. There are so many students willing to talk to you. And if, like, let's say you see a clique and you just go and introduce yourself, I'd say most of the time, if you're like, hey guys, I'm new here, I would love to get to know you guys and just sit down and talk with you. And if you just openly say, hey, I'm new here, I'm looking for friends, can I hang out with you guys? And you just make it like abundantly clear and not any of the nonchalant junk where people are like, hey, what's up? But it's like just be straight up and say that. I think 99% of the students at CBC will be like, absolutely, dude, hang out with us. And if they don't, then that's just God's way of telling you, don't hang out with those people.
Yeah.
And move on. And I think people find communities, like I learned that in college. Like literally just go talk to somebody. Like, and then also, ask leaders specifically, like, hey, I really want to get plugged into a group. Like I was praying in high school, like, oh, I really wish I could get plugged in. But I never actually went and asked somebody, hey, how can I find community? Which would have been really smart of me, but I didn't. Thankfully, God still delivered, and Casey reached out to me, which was wonderful, and I was at his CG as soon as I could. But like, I think God's not always going to drop that into your lap, and I think God calls us to have a little more accountability sometimes. And so, just be intentional. First of all, just try, just ask kids, ask other students, ask other college students, other people, and be intentional and just totally be straight up about like, hey, I'm new, I'm looking for friends. Can I hang out with you guys? Like I know for a fact, like Aiden particularly has done such a good job of like forming a larger and larger and larger like group in the common ground community.
Oh yeah,
like it's incredible.
He knows more people than I do. I feel like
it's incredible. Like he has formed this huge group, and we're having to save like a whole entire aisle now at this point because of how many people are coming, and it's incredible because like when I left for school last year, I knew none of these people. And in that year, he's already formed these really good friendships. He started a Bible study. It's like...
Yep. Which is why he's not here tonight.
Yes, it is why he's not here tonight. But, yeah, I think be intentional and just get out there.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
Because I think a lot of people will say, like, oh, I'm really trying to look for a community, but they're not looking as hard as they should.
I completely agree with that. And again, I love that you said try harder because... I don't know. I'm so bad at explaining things because there's like literally a million things going on in this head right now. Like if you could, it seems like my brain would just be firing right now. I know that feeling. So I don't know how I have a podcast. This is why I don't preach or teach because I would make y'all just
journaling.
Lost.
Journaling helps. That.
Yeah, that's true. I should start journaling.
Journaling is like
Dave's life story, and then just publish it one day.
Yeah. Just a bunch of scribbles.
Yeah, but no, that's great advice, and they try harder.
Because I think it's like, I think deep down there's a lot of times we know we should be in community. Like we consciously know that, but subconsciously are held back by our anxiety.
Yeah.
Like I was in that space. Like I knew I needed to be in community, but I was just too nervous to ask.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, get over that hump. Take some accountability and just get out there.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as it looks.
And you'll appreciate it later on.
I made some of the best friends I think I will ever had, literally just by going out into a common space and starting a conversation.
And you know what? People aren't as mean as they look.
People are not as mean as they look. My best friend Cannon has total RBF, right? We're not going to spell that out on this podcast.
Look it up.
But is the sweetest man I know.
Yeah.
Like, like hugs everybody, biggest smile. Like you can see every single one of his teeth when he smiles, and he's like a golden retriever puppy dog.
Oh.
But he looks totally like at first you're like, oh, that kid's grumpy. Like no, he's just not smiling yet because you haven't talked to him. Once you start talking to him, you're like, oh wow. So yeah,
I love that.
People are not as mean as they look.
Yeah. I love
and
that.
if they come across as mean up front, then that's not who you should be hanging out with.
That's right. Honestly, that's the fact. Just find another group.
Exactly. I think it's almost a blessing when people are rude up front, because then it's like, oh,
they did the hard work for you.
Exactly. It's almost worse when you're like, oh, these people seem nice, and then they turn out to be fake.
And they turn out to be fake, and they're talking behind your back, and,
Exactly.
or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you're the bad person. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe you need some TLC. But anyway, okay. So the next question I do have is someone that's come into faith and believe in Jesus, because I think it's one thing just to not believe in Jesus, but I think for someone to say, hey, I'm an atheist, I feel like atheism is just as much as a faith as believing in Jesus.
I would totally agree.
Because there are people that are just, I don't believe in any of that. Okay, that's cool. But the people that are like, no, I'm an atheist, because oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell you this. I guess the question would be, what was that point? Like, what was it that Pastor Ed said, or what was, or anything? I think you kind of were interested in faith now, even before you went to CBC. Like, what was it that were like, hey, maybe there is something bigger out there, and then I figure out what it is, because what I believe right now just ain't it.
Yeah. I think, it's gonna be different for every atheist. Yes. I think a lot of atheists are atheists for a different reason. And I will say, I personally think that the jump from atheist to Christian is harder than the jump from another faith to Christianity. Because I think when you're of another faith, you understand the idea of believing in a higher power.
Sure.
But as an atheist, you really don't. Like, that is I had to get to a point where I was like, okay, something made this universe, and it wasn't just a random Big Bang. And that was a big hump for me to get over, because I was just like, I remember I just randomly prayed. Like, my mom was talking about, like, let me just try prayer. And I just, like, felt, I was like, I don't know who you are, or if you're real, but God, just talk to me, I guess. More or less, I think that's kind of what I said. And, I just in that, I continued to kind of get little bits of evidence as I just thought about it. It's like, scientifically, there's so much proof for, like, I actually wrote an essay on this, but, like, not even just the Christian God, but there is so much evidence that there is a God. There, like, just that first hurdle to get over, there's a tremendous amount of evidence towards that, right? The biggest one for me is what's called the Goldilocks zone. Our planet Earth is within what's known as a Goldilocks zone, that basically 0.1 degree off of any factor that holds our Earth together would make life on Earth completely impossible. If the gravity was 0.1% higher or lower, life could not exist. If the tilt of the Earth was 0.1 degrees less or more, life on Earth could not happen. Temperature, gravity, tilt of the Earth, rotation around the sun, distance from the sun. If we were any closer or any further, we could be way colder, way hotter. Like, there is hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of different factors of the Earth that, had it been shifted, like, just a little bit, like, life wouldn't be possible. And that just, like, when I heard that, like, if anyone's listening to this and they're kind of struggling with that, the Goldilocks zone is what we exist in. And I mean, when I heard that, I'm just like, that just can't happen by chance. I mean, it's possible for us to enter into that by chance, but for us as a society and as a planet to remain in that, in the Goldilocks zone, just was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And it also kind of debunked some other, like, there were some other things that continued to debunk that, like morality. Like, I wrote an essay on how the fact that we as humans have morality is proof of a God. But that's a very long conversation. But
sounds like a very interesting conversation.
Yes. So yeah, I would say the first hurdle is just accepting like there's too much evidence that there is a God. And then after that, for me, I just basically saw enough evidence that Jesus was Lord. I mean, like that Jesus existed. Like there's more written manuscripts as like archaeological evidence proving Jesus's resurrection, like people interacting with Jesus post-resurrection, than there are for the entire existence of Julius Caesar.
Wow.
Like that like once I heard that, I was like, whoa, that's nuts to think that, you know, Julius Caesar is written in the history books as somebody who absolutely existed, like is an absolute. And I totally believe that. I believe Julius Caesar existed, more so because the Bible talks about him. But like Julius Caesar existed. There's like, I don't know, 100 or so written manuscripts have been discovered proving his existence. There's like more than 500 written manuscript interactions with Jesus post-resurrection. And thousands more pre-resurrection. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, that right there. And it's like, and if all of that, it proves Jesus existed. And then there's all this about Jesus and Jesus, you know, and also I wrestled with, how does the Old Testament wrap up in this? If the Old Testament was wrong, Jesus would have said so. But Jesus spoke about the Old Testament as if it was truth. And so if he said it was the truth and I believe in him, then the Old Testament is also the truth. That was my kind of logic. And so, yeah, I think the hardest, like another really tricky part that a lot of people don't talk about as an atheist is the transition into church tradition and how the church operates. Because of course every denomination has different tradition, especially there's the three big sects. There's the Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant church that all really operate independently. And as someone who never grew up going to church, never grew up going to church camp, never heard a worship song in his life, never cracked open a Bible in his entire life, none of that, it's so foreign. And I didn't honestly do a good enough job at first of really trying to explore it. I just thought, I'm going to go to church on Sunday, right? I didn't go and ask someone, what else can I do as a Christian? And I think that was a really important step for me, is that after I'd given my life, I should have just gone up and asked someone, like, hey, what can I do around here other than just coming to church on Sunday, if anything? Because like worship was completely foreign to me. The idea of students getting together, Sunday school, completely foreign to me. Like people always talk about like their church camp experiences, and I think that's been a little bit of a hurdle for me in my faith, is that, you know, I want to go into ministry and all this, but like I also haven't had the experience of going to church camp. I can't relate to some people in the same way. But what I'm really thankful for is I'm much more concerned with relating to the unbelievers than I am the believer. Right? And that's why I'm really thankful that I came to the faith from atheism rather than like growing up in the faith, coming away from it, coming back to the faith, as a lot of people have that testimony. Right? And it's like I can speak to the unbelievers because that is the group that is most important for me to be able to relate to. Mm-hmm. Right? Because once someone's saved, they're saved. Of course, it's important for me to be able to disciple people, but like the most important thing is getting people to heaven. And so I'm really thankful that, you know, I think there's definitely a really neat testimony found in atheism to Christianity. Oh yeah, so it's an amazing testimony. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah, it does. Cool. Yeah. I'm just, again, I tell y'all all the time how proud I am of all of y'all, and just to see, to dive deeper into your story, because I knew you came out of atheism. I know your mom too, and I know your dad is still kind of like, yep, dad's still atheist. I know that we've prayed for this before. Yeah. But I think it's because you hear about people converting from atheism to Christianity all the time, but it's so cool to hear someone of such a young age and who has so much potential in ministry, and you can really minister to that. Yeah. And I'm really thankful because it's like every time I'm like, man, I really am sad I never got to go to church camp as a kid. I have to remind myself I am blessed to have the testimony I do because it's for a purpose. Yeah, I still can't believe you didn't go to any of our camps. I know. The reason I didn't go to camp the 2 summers I was saved in high school was because literally both times I was going on a trip to Asia.
That's right.
Which,
Forgot
don't get
about
me
that.
wrong, I think church camp is the coolest thing, and I would have loved going. But believe me, my trip to Korea and my trip to Japan were some of the greatest experiences
Oh,
I
yeah,
have ever
I'm
had,
sure.
and in itself grew my faith at those. There was some really cool growth that happened at both those trips as well.
Oh,
So
I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you were missed, definitely.
yeah,
Now you can be a leader.
I
Well,
will
there
be a
was
leader.
Freedom Conference.
Freedom Conference. Oh my gosh, Freedom Conference was so awesome.
Just take like 5 minutes. Talk about that experience real quick.
Freedom Conference. Oh man, I definitely have a unique point of view for Freedom Conference.
Yeah, you were
because
on staff, pretty much.
yeah, but not just that. Like all the other interns were either group leaders or group leaders and like squad leaders, and so they were the guys on stage doing all that stuff. But then me, Freeman, Ainsley, Bianca, and Layla were stagehands. And so we weren't necessarily with productions or with the events team. We were kind of our own subsector, and our job was setting up all things Squad Wars related, from the punching machine, the slime,
Mm-hmm.
to the different times we did tug of war, to the big one was the Mario Kart race that we had. Like me and Freeman like set up the tape for that. Slayton helped us set up the track, and that was us. Like that was our job, was to make sure all things Squad Wars went smoothly and actually happened. And man, it was, gosh, Freedom was. I'll say this: I'm so thankful for the impact that Freedom had on students. I mean, we had 180 salvations, 66 baptisms. I'm just like baffled at that number. Like that's so amazing. Of course, leading up to Freedom was definitely a little bit of a grueling process, if I'm being honest, because we spent basically like 3 weeks straight just sending text messages.
Yeah.
We had a list of like 5,000 numbers. It was texting.
It was
away.
worth it.
It was absolutely worth it. But I will admit, starting out my internship, just sending texts every day was a little tiring. But I'm very thankful we got to do it. There was one day I texted so much my phone stopped working. It literally wouldn't send texts. Like it was like, and I told Slayton, he's like, okay, go home, because I had sent like 350 in one day, and it was almost like time for me to go home anyways. Like he's like, get out of here.
Get out of here,
Yeah.
you filthy animal.
But yeah, man, I actually didn't get to interact with like the students too much at Freedom because I was backstage so much. It was easily one of the most exhausting 48 hours of my life. Because we were up super late for midweek and then prepping for Freedom. And then because how late I was up, and then of course several people stayed with me at my house because my house is so much closer than theirs. Like Ryan, Cam, Duck, and Josh all stayed at my house each night. And then I basically got 4 hours of sleep ahead of the first day. It was 20 hours straight. 4 hours of sleep, 20 hours straight. And I think I clocked, like I don't have like a way of measuring it, but just by understanding myself and what I was doing, I think I got around 100,000 steps for both days. I think I got like minor shin splints.
Oh yeah.
Like my feet, I could barely stand. Like it wore me out, but it also was so much fun getting to work with the stagehand team. The stagehand team was such a blessing. They were rock stars. Like they were always on time. They listened, but also I could totally rely on them. Like there was one point, one of the last games, like I had to handle something else and they set it up. Like they were just incredible. And working with Slayton was great. And we got to work with the squad leaders a lot, who were also so much fun. Like just getting to see that from not being a part of it and just getting to see it from backstage was like, this is so cool. And also getting to have a little bit of joy in knowing that like we put this on for these students, and knowing that the fun experience that was Squad Wars got to help some students possibly give their life to Jesus. And that's just like, I love that. And although I didn't get to directly interact with students very much, I was technically a group leader as well. But I wasn't able to be with them hardly at all. Fortunately, I had Vetter as my co-lead, so I had an awesome co-leader, so he was like on it. If I ever, for the most of the time that I wasn't present. But I think my favorite part about freedom, that was just like, I think one of the biggest turning points for me. I've had a lot of different, like, I could just take like 10, 15 minutes to talk about like the growth I've had just in this summer. But like freedom in itself taught me how to lead, I think. Like I grew a lot just in how I led, because I think that it's been really easy for me to be so task oriented. Like it's like, okay, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. But I think I was also able to really take a second with every person and every interaction and really acknowledge people and thank them and talk to them and be like a little more Mary and not all Martha. But we also still got stuff done. And it was like we were so effective as a team. And I personally was really happy and proud of myself in a non-prideful way. And very thankful that God gave me the strength to accomplish some of the things I did while still being able to acknowledge pretty much every person I interacted with. Like one that comes to mind is like there was this guy named Ruben who was basically the guard keeping kids or people without the right badge from coming into
the Coliseum.
Actually coming to backstage.
I gotcha.
And like I just went up and shook his hand and talked to him and checked in on him every day and stuff, and it paid off, because there was one point where I didn't have the right badge, but I was able to get backstage because I had talked to him. And that was another thing, is that none of the squad leaders nor the stagehands were given all access or event passes. And so literally my first thing I had to do was sprint and make sure that everyone had the right badge on time. And so I think that was something else. It was like I really got to practice servant leadership, and that was incredible. And so it's like even when I was just walking and I would see a volunteer, I would just say hi and talk with them. And like I think it shifted how I interact with people when I'm in a leadership position, and honestly in a sometimes stressful and tough situation. Like I was still able to stop and talk to somebody. And something I did after the conference, and this was totally like God totally inspired this, and I've never done anything like this, and it's definitely a habit I really want to continue, is that before I even went inside, after I had driven home after the final night, I actually texted like every single person I like directly worked with, and I was just like, I thanked them specifically. Like I texted all the squad leaders whose numbers I had. I texted all of the stagehands. I texted Vetter. I texted Josh. I texted Duck. I texted Pastor Caleb and Slayton, and I basically just gave them like this paragraph of like, thank you. And like, I don't even know where that came from. I mean, I don't know where that came from, but it was like, it was so out of the blue for God to inspire that. But I was really thankful, because I think that was kind of the cherry on top of the weekend of like, okay, be a servant leader, get your tasks done, but make sure to acknowledge people while in that.
That's good.
And again, this very much ties into a very big theme of this summer, is that, Freedom Conference was grueling. I mean, I was on my feet all day. There was one point, the slime was probably the most stressful thing at any point, because from basically the moment that session started till about a half hour later, so much was going on between setup and then after, and the slime being too much glue, and so having to make sure that the kids who got the squad leaders who got slimed were okay and they were getting the right stuff they need, because I had to go get them soap, all this stuff. I was literally sprinting for like a half hour. Like I was sprinting back and forth. When that session was over, I like sat down and I almost like collapsed as I was sitting down, because I was just like shaking.
Oh, I bet.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's over. Anyways, but like being truly motivated in some hard work by nothing but my love for God and love for people.
Yeah.
Can I take a little second for like 5 minutes for a tangent?
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest thing God's been teaching me recently. And that is, of course, I talked about how I always idolized my mom for a large portion of my life. And what happened is that when I went to college, I was able to de-idolize her, right? I was able to have it some distance. I've made a rule with my mom. I don't tell her my grades. As long as she trusts that I'm keeping my grades up where they need to be, but I don't, whether I'm doing bad or whether I'm doing good, I don't tell her, because it's so easy to be like, oh, I got 100 on this essay, Mom, I want to, like, no, this is for God, I'm serving God in how I work in my school and as I work with excellence. And so, but also it was kind of hard at school because as I de-idolized my mom, still replacing that idol with God was hard. And so I found my motivation stalling sometimes at school. And it made my rhythms not as good. And, I spent a lot of time with friends, which was a blessing. And I got to form that family. But I think that, my prayer life was sometimes inconsistent. How much I read my Bible was sometimes inconsistent because I was like really shifting in how and who I served. And this summer, I think I've really, really, now that I kind of removed my mom from that place, was kind of in a place of emptiness in who was my Lord. And now that God is there, my motivation is just like skyrocketed.
Wow.
And I think not being paid in the internship is the like perfect part of that, because every single day that I go in and am doing what I'm doing, as I'm working my bum off, it's like I'm not working for a paycheck. And I'm not working for my mom. She's not there. I'm really having to work for God. And it's a greater motivation than I've ever had. My daily and weekly rhythms right now and my diet and everything are better than I ever have. Like, I'm working out really consistently. Like things are falling into place and I'm having the motivation to do it. Like yesterday we did VBS. I was on the field outside, hottest day of the year in Texas. It was 110 degrees. I was out there from 8 to 11:30, and I was like, oh, I could take a nap, I could do whatever, but I'm like, no, I need to stick with my rhythm, and God gave me the strength, and I went to the gym. I went to the gym after all that, and then I went home, showered, ate, and I went back and set up for midweek and did all of midweek. And it's like, I can't believe I'm able to do that, and that's just like, it's such a testament to like how God has really taken his place as not just Savior, but Lord of my life. So yeah, that is like the epitome of what I've learned really this summer, but also just in the last year. Honestly, that's my whole faith, right? And just like the process of de-idolizing my mom and now re-idolizing God and putting him where he needs to be.
That's good.
And it's like, I am like so pumped for school. Like I am more excited for sophomore year than I even was for freshman year, because I'm like, I know I'm going to keep this going and my grades are going to be, my goal is to make honors, or the dean's list. Like, and I know I can accomplish that.
Yeah. And
like really serve well, both at school, because I'll be a leader at school, but I'm also going to be a leader at my church in Waco. Because me and Ken are going to be leading a small group, at our church in Waco this summer, or either this year. So I'm so excited to do that. It's just like how this motivation is carrying over is just like, that is the best part. So yeah, I would say freedom was a great representation of that, because it's like probably the hardest 2 days of my life, and I was still motivated and fueled by my love of God and love for the people I was serving, and that alone, and
That's
not by
good.
money.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a lot of work. I mean, I was exhausted as a volunteer, but man, and I actually wasn't feeling good either. I think it was my birthday too. And I think it was Friday. I woke up and I was like, I do not feel good, and I just choked it off to being tired, but I actually wasn't feeling well.
Yeah,
But
Mac wasn't feeling good either.
yeah, it was.
We had a lot of people not feeling great because it was a lot.
Yeah, but man, I'm so thankful that you drove all the way out here to come do this, and I'm glad we finally got
to do this. This is like incredible.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to put it out there, and it's been a minute since I've done an episode.
Yeah.
But I want to get back into this. I've got some cool people lined up, and now that work has calmed down, and now that the summer season at CBC is coming to an end, and I can start, really putting this out there a little bit more. But man, I'm gonna say it again. I'm so proud of you and who you're becoming, and I'm so thankful to know you. I'm so glad you were in my group at one weekend.
Yes.
It's just so random how that worked out, and the people that I've been able to meet because of you, of being friends with you, and so
yeah.
I'm excited to see. We can see her in the corner of that. That's so funny. But I'm so excited to see where you go and your next move in
Yes,
life as you
thank
get
you.
back to Baylor, and then even after Baylor and wherever that leads.
Yes. You got to come to Baylor for a podcast. We got to do a Baylor podcast.
We will work. That would be so much
That
fun.
would be really cool.
I can book a room again. Because when I went up there, it was raining really bad, and I was
Yes.
like, I didn't want to drive, and
Yeah, we could do an Alan Dawson like podcast episode,
yeah, we'll call it.
and we can do that in the like common area.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be really fun.
That'd be really.
Or
cool.
or we can do it in my dorm room, because I could tell you this. I've already like planned out a lot of like how my dorm room is gonna be set. Like me and my new roommate Sam, like our dorm room is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so cool. Like posters and F1 stuff everywhere. It's gonna be so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to get back up there too. I'm gonna try to take one of the Aidens with me,
Yes, one of
or
the many.
someone, or maybe Don, or one of the guys.
You should take Aiden V. I know he wants to come up and visit Baylor.
Aiden V. He's
Yeah.
go to.
Yeah,
He's a Life Stories podcast family.
He is. So
Yeah.
he would be really fun to bring up to Baylor, because I
Yeah.
know he really wants to come up and
Yeah,
visit.
maybe we can work that out. That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him about that. But thanks
All
again
right.
for coming out.
Thank you so much for having me, David.
Of course, my pleasure. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the things. And so I do ask my visiting guests to
Mhm.
close out in prayer.
Let's do it.
You want to do that?
Let's do it.
Cool.
Dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for all of your blessings and all that you have done for us. God, we thank you for the breath in our lungs and the opportunity to live and serve you another day. Lord, we thank you for this time together, God, and we just thank you for allowing this podcast to exist, Lord, and thank you for the words that have been spoken tonight, God. We just pray that they would be sweet to your ears, God, and we just pray that you would use this podcast episode, God, as you would please, Lord, and help it serve your children, Lord. I just pray that you would forgive us, Lord, because we acknowledge that we are imperfect, Lord. We just pray that you would put that grace upon our hearts, that we may forgive those around us and forgive ourselves, God. And Lord, most importantly, help us continue to honor you with our words, thoughts, and actions, God. Allow us to be fully obedient unto you, God. And Lord, just allow us to love you and love others and bear the fruits of the Spirit, God. Lord, we pray that as we continue to move through our new seasons, Lord, that you would allow us to come closer and closer to you in all that we do. Lord, I pray for incoming high school students, God, that you would just allow them to enjoy midweek, God, and incoming middle school students, God. We just pray that our new 6th graders and our new 9th graders, that as they're coming into these new seasons, Lord, that you would just help them find community, Lord, and help them grow closer and closer to you, God, those students who are graduated now and entering into college or any kind of post-high school plans, God, that you would just continue to bring them closer to you, Lord, and help them find the community that will do that. So, Lord, we love you and we praise you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey guys, thanks for taking the time out to listen to another amazing story from another amazing guest. I'm so thankful that you join me every time that I drop these episodes to listen to these amazing stories. I hope that today's story encouraged you in some way, shape, or form with something that you might be going through, or if you know someone who might be going through something. I pray that this message that was shared today gives encouragement and gives you hope for whatever you're facing today. Hey, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe. It absolutely helps a lot with the show and getting the algorithms all in place and all of those things. I just really appreciate all the support from the bottom of my heart. This is just something that I love to do, to share the good news of Jesus and to let people know that you're not alone in whatever you're facing. I hope you were encouraged by today's story and know that you have a story. We all have a story, and it's one to be shared. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again.